There is nothing worse than being labeled as a cheater when you're a pro golfer. Things like slow play or bad attitude and making simple mistakes can always be forgiven and forgotten. But once you cheat and get caught in the act, well, you just earned a spot in the history books for all the wrong reasons. Keeping that in mind, here are 7 pro golfers that were caught cheating. Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed has been labeled a cheater for quite some time now, so it only makes sense to start off with him. Twitter erupted when Reed was seen improving his lie in a waste bunker not once but twice on the 11th hole during his 3rd round of the Hero World Challenge. Now, Reed was allowed to ground his club in the sand because it was not a regular bunker, he was in a waste bunker. But what he was not allowed to do is scoop away the sand with his club on 2 occasions, as it clearly improved his lie. The former Masters champion spent much of this tournament out in front, but when the NBC Golf broadcast revisited his bogey on the 11th hole, it had become clear to all to see that he had committed a rules violation in the waste bunker. When looking back on it, you can barely see Reed's ball on his first shot. And then after 2 scoops of sand with his practice swings, then suddenly the lie of his ball became a lot clearer. This incident looked incredibly similar to the one in the same tournament back in 2015. Reed did not report this violation as he went about his business, but he was then spoken to by PGA Tour officials to ask exactly what he was doing, and it resulted in a 2-stroke penalty and a triple bogey on that 11th hole. Reed spoke to the media after his round and looked completely embarrassed at what he had done. Here's what he had to say.
They brought it up to me and I saw it. It definitely did drag some of the sand, and because of that, it's considered a 2-stroke penalty. I didn't feel like it was, really would have affected my lie. Because of, every time I get in the bunker, I'm scared to even get my club close to it. It was that far away. But whenever you do that, if it does hit the sand, just like if you're in a hazard area and you take a practice swing and it brushes grass and the grass breaks, it's a penalty. So because of that, and after seeing the video, it's a 2-stroke penalty, and I accept that. It wasn't because of any intent. I felt like I was far enough away, but because of what we saw.
Did you see as you're taking it, did you see any sand?
I didn't, because the face is open, and as I'm going back, by the time, it's barely touching the sand.
Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson wasn't in contention, but he still managed to steal the spotlight at the US Open anyway with this really weird move he made on the green. At the par 4 13th hole, Mickelson sent a 7-foot bogey putt past the hole and toward a downslope that could have carried it off the green. Mickelson then did what a child losing in a mini putt match would do. He ran after the ball and hit it back as it was moving. Mickelson batted the ball around a few times and finally holed it in 8 shots. He made a 10 on the hole because the USGA assessed the 2-stroke penalty for hitting a moving ball. The organization cited Rule 14-5, a player must not make a stroke at his ball while it's moving. But there was another rule that could have gotten Mickelson disqualified, Rule 1-2, which called into question if Mickelson should have been ejected. Exerting influence of movement of the ball or altering physical conditions. A player must not take an action with the intent to influence the movement of a ball in play or alter physical conditions with the intent of affecting the playing of a hole. The USGA rules that if a player has committed a serious breach of the rule, it can disqualify the player from an event. Now, how is that determined? A player is deemed to have committed a serious breach of the rule if the committee considers that the action taken in breach of this rule has allowed him or another player to gain a significant advantage or has placed another player at a significant disadvantage. Mickelson freely admits that he knew the rule and did it on purpose. He said, "It was meant to take advantage of the rules as best you can. In that situation, I was going back and forth. I'd gladly take the 2 shots over continuing that display." Mickelson may have done it on purpose and didn't think it was cheating, but either way, other players on tour were not happy with his antics. Jane Blaylock. A winner of 27 LPGA Tour events, Blaylock also holds the tour record with an impressive 299 consecutive cuts made. One smudge that remains on an otherwise iconic career is the stretch of cheating she went through beginning in 1972 at the Bluegrass Invitational. The leading money winner on tour that year, Blaylock improperly marked her ball on the 17th hole and failed to incur a 2-stroke penalty on herself for committing the act. The consequences were very costly. Not only was Blaylock disqualified from the event, the LPGA Executive Board alleged that Blaylock cheated in 2 events prior to her disqualification. Shortly after the Invitational, Blaylock was suspended from the LPGA Tour for a year. Blaylock filed a $5 million lawsuit against the tour thereafter. Her lawyers also motioned successfully that Blaylock could continue playing while the case played out. While Blaylock was fined and suspended by the LPGA Tour Executive Board, the lawsuit she filed and won prevented those punishments from being enforced for the most part. Lexi Thompson. Lexi Thompson was on the par 5 16th hole at the Royal Troon, where she found the rough on the right side of the fairway from the tee. Thompson's ball seemed to be sitting in an awkward spot with some plant or long grass interfering with her positioning. As Thompson laid her club to address the ball, you can see her pushing the long grass out of the way of the ball. Although the position of the ball did not change and the grass also popped back up to its original place, technically Thompson did not improve her lie. Now, according to Rule 8.1a, it states that a player must not move, bend, or break any growing or attached natural object. In the video, you can clearly see the grass springs back into the original position, but that didn't stop golf fans from venting their frustration and calling Thompson out. No disciplinary actions came out of this, but the internet did erupt after seeing it and calling her out for clearly attempting to improve her lie. Tiger Woods. Speaking of improving their lie, playing the Phoenix Open in 1999, 2 years after he famously aced the par 3 16th hole in the tournament, Woods drove his tee shot on the par 5 13th hole left and behind a boulder. Without much of a shot to the green, Woods inquired whether the boulder was a loose impediment and could be moved. When the answer was yes, Woods enlisted members of his gallery, including then caddy Mike Cowan, for their help. With the boulder moved back, Woods was then given a clear shot to the green. He ended up actually getting to the green in two and making a birdie putt. The incident remains controversial because it spoke to the advantage Woods had in having a large gallery. The argument is, would a Monday qualifier in the first grouping get the same help Woods did? Probably not. But 15 years later, the USGA maintains what the player did was perfectly within the rules of golf. Citing decision 23-13, may spectators, caddies, fellow competitors, etc. assist a player in removing a large loose impediment? The answer is yes. Bhavik Patel. The PGA Tour announced that third-year pro at the time, Bhavik Patel, had been suspended for a year after violating the tour's anti-doping policies. Patel said in a statement that he made a lapse of judgment regarding the use of performance-enhancing substances. In an effort to overcome an injury, I had made a lapse of judgment, Patel said. I regret my decision but have learned from the experience and look forward to returning to competition. The tour did not disclose which substance triggered Patel's positive test. Patel, who finished 114th on the Korn Ferry Tour money list after making 12 starts, is the second known player to be suspended for using performance-enhancing drugs. The PGA Tour began drug testing in 2008, with penalties ranging from a 1-year suspension for a first offense to a lifetime ban if the player is caught 3 times. Vijay Singh. Vijay Singh has had a long and very successful career as a pro golfer, including 3 major championships and a 2004 season in which he won 9 times on the PGA Tour. But the 50-year-old golfer was caught using deer antler spray, which contains the growth factor IGF-1, a banned substance. Singh was implicated along with former NFL linebacker Ray Lewis and former MLB outfielder Johnny Damon. Upon the report, Singh admitted to using the deer antler spray, but denied knowing it contained IGF-1. While I have used deer antler spray, at no time was I aware that it may contain a substance that is banned under the PGA Tour anti-doping policy, Singh said. When asked to comment, Bubba Watson said, "It's sad people live and die by their sport, and they have to, I guess, cheat and try to better themselves with deer antler spray. We should check them for mental problems if they're taking deer antler spray. That's kind of weird." Thanks for watching our video. If you haven't yet, drop us a like, leave us a comment, and if you're looking for more golf content, don't forget to subscribe.